tie, different game, same literal same result.
Yeah.
Canucks score first, and then they scored on twice, and then an empty netter to make it 3-1.
Well, 2 disallowed goals, a defenseman covering the puck in the crease, and breaking up the cycle in the last minute. You got to hand it to the refs. They did their best to give Vegas this one. The Canucks fought hard, man. But early whistle, quick whistle when Joshua could have poked that one in.
Two
and then
whistles that shouldn't have happened.
Just before that, Lankinen's fighting for his life at our end, covering the puck, and the ref has no idea where it is and waits forever to blow it down. It's just games like this where it's so glaringly obvious is just gross. Like they didn't even go to video replay on the Bluger one. They had their own conference and overturned it so that we didn't even really have a chance to challenge. Like, call the goal, and then if Vegas wants to challenge, let Vegas challenge. That's why the frickin' rule is in there. But instead, they don't even give that chance to anybody. They don't give Toronto the chance to say yes or no. Like, Bluger did his best to avoid contact at all with Hill there. I don't understand how that's goaltender interference.
Well, I mean, and then even just McNabb, it's literally a defenseman covering the puck in the crease. That is a penalty, straight up. There was 2 trips, blatant trips, 3 penalties right there that they didn't call. Yeah,
it's a penalty shot.
Yeah,
a player covering the puck with any part of his body in the crease is a penalty shot.
German Canucks Nation, 9-9-9-9. Not again. Anyways, Dustin meditation now.
Yeah, and then the slew foot on DeBrusque too. It's like, what the hell are these guys watching? It happens too much. It's league wide. It's not just Canucks. You just see which teams are the teams that get the love and catering from the NHL.
Well, it's funny too because I think
expansion teams.
We get some crap sometimes in the comments, which it doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while we'll get a fan from the other team and they're like, "Oh, you guys are just complaining that the refs lost you the game." It's like, no, we aren't always saying that. There has been the odd occasion where we're like, straight up, the refs cost us that game. But the most part, the majority of the time, 99% of the time, it's like, man, the refs just suck on both sides.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they just suck now. They're getting worse and worse. Like that scrum when the players are pushing and shoving and the ref's on the side blowing his whistle like an idiot, like 100 times. It's like they heard the whistle the first time. They're not gonna stop. They have some shit to say to each other. And use your words like a big boy. Put the whistle away. You sound like a Karen. Like it's just like, holy, what is happening to this league? And the officials are just acting like they're the show. And then the double wave out later, like at the end of the game there, waving out Eichel, waving out Petey. Just drop the friggin' puck.
Yeah.
Oy.
Connor Garland is literally in a chokehold from behind. Aiden Hill pops in the face with a blocker hand that has no stick. That's a penalty. No call. Nothing.
Hedl skating to the bench gets drawn into a scrum, forced into an odd man scrum. Our guys come to protect him, and it gets evened up. It's not a power play for us. Like I just don't. Some of the stuff I just don't understand it. The Canucks fought hard to try and get back in and win this game. They had 18 shots in the third period. When was the last time we saw them do that? Like try to fight that hard. They fought back in the face-off dot to get it to 50%. These ones hurt because the team did try. They didn't have glorious chances, but they did try. And they did have a couple of chances that found the back of the net, but were robbed by officials that chose to, loosely adapt the rules to their benefit.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty sick of that. And then I got a comment here from Solar Midnight, Columbus Blue Jackets fans. And Russell, NHL refs are worse than NFL refs now, which is saying something because the NFL refs have been suspect for a bunch of years.
Yeah, like give me back Bill McCreary and Mick Magoo and Kerry Fraser. Like, give me those guys back. At least they had a backbone. They had a spine. They'd tell a player what for.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a sad day when we lose like Wes McCauley. Even he's a bit of a show, but at least he tries to call a decent game. But he's one of the last ones.
Dustin, the Canucks out hit Vegas 34-10.
Yes, they did.
They crushed them.
Yeah, they outplayed him for the last 15 minutes of that game.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's where I was talking about before the game, right? It's gonna probably be sloppy, but I mean, and then Vegas came out; they didn't look like they had much rust on them. Apparently, gold doesn't rust, but
it does tarnish, though.
Yeah, the Canucks did come back, like you said, in that third period. 18 shots in that third period, which I mean, 18 shots is usually more than they get in a game, right? So to have that many in just a single period, and Aiden Hill was fighting it. Like the man was not able to cover a single rebound in his life.
No, I actually really liked Joshua's game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was showing some really good signs of being the guy that we saw last year. Much more physical, kind of being a bit of get under your skin. You saw him kind of accidentally on purpose knock Hill's stick further away there on that one play when Hill kind of lost in front of the net. One of the Knights players tried to play it back to him, then Joshua kind of played it away, and then Hill was pushing and shoving him, and so when Hill pushed him, he fell, and as he fell, he purposely kicked it over to the boards. It was just one of those glorious moments where it's like, yes, that's the type of player we need Dakota Joshua to be. He needs to be that net front presence like he was last year. He needs to be physical, and he needs to make it hard on the other team's goalie. It's unfortunate that one at the beginning of the third there. I mean, that's a pretty big bounce. And then also it's like there's contact from Stone with Lankinen that's actually goaltender interference. And that one doesn't get overturned. So I'm like, this is where I'm like, what is goaltender interference anymore?
Nobody knows.
Like, I just
wow.
I hate when it comes down to that sort of stuff.
I would say that one probably didn't get called because Lankinen was out of his crease. If that contact happens, Lankinen's in his crease, it's probably goaltender interference, no goal.
Yeah.
Because Lankinen had moved out of his crease to make that initial save, which actually went wide. I think that's why they ended up with not a call on that one.
Well, and that's why the Canucks didn't challenge it, right? They trust their video coach pretty well, and yeah, that was a tough one, but man, some good stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we can't be upset about losing a game like that to Vegas. I mean, they're first place, so yeah, hard fought, but unfortunate not to get the tie or the victory in that one. Just a couple of bad breaks.
3 stars of the game.
Oh, let's see here. I hope they gave Lankinen some love. But I'm gonna guess. Oh, we're in Vegas, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
So, they probably went like what? Aiden Hill, Brandon Saad, and Ivan Barbashev.
Yep. Yeah, they got you gave Brandon Saad the first star with the 1 goal.
Yeah.
Aiden Hill with the 9.7 save percentage and 1 goals against average, and then Barbashev with the 1 goal. So they gave the 2 goals that were scored on a goalie, 2 Vegas players, right? But no Canucks.
No, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, we need another top 6 player for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have anyone really generating dangerous scoring chances. PD is going to need another winger. You can't run him with Sherwood and DeBrusk. That's just not going to be successful. Sherwood doesn't belong up there as much as I love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a third line grinder with offensive upside. That's all he is and all he ever will be. And you just need to play him in that role. it's a shame. I kind of wanted to see Lekkerimäki in this game, but he kind of got lost in limbo here. He wasn't playing for the Baby Canucks, and he wasn't playing for these guys, and he's not listed on either roster. So I
Maybe
don't
he's in
know.
transition or something.
Normally we get the transactions that happen, and we didn't see those today because we had all those guys come up for practice, fill in, and then Tolopilo and Ratu were both playing for the Abbey Canucks tonight, but we didn't see the transaction happen for them to be sent back down. Lekkerimäki's not playing for either team, but he wasn't shown on the scratches tonight, so I don't know. But we need more firepower. I mean, that wasn't a great offensive performance for Pettersson. Let's be clear. That wasn't a good game in that sense, but he did have some really good speed back checking. It looks like his knee held up okay, so we'll see how he feels tomorrow on the back-to-back. Maybe he can't play tomorrow. We'll see. We'll have to see, but we definitely need more shots on net from him. He did try to sneak one in there from the corner on Hill, which was a good idea because Hill had been struggling. But we need him to start getting back to the soft area, like we talked about with McDavid. That's where Pettersson used to do his best work, from the face-off dot to kind of the hash mark, in that little triangle there on his shot side. He just needs to get back to getting to that spot. Instead of looking to be such a playmaker, he needs to be the trigger man again.
I think my thoughts on PD are, I think PD is going to go on a heater the moment that Quinn Hughes gets back in this lineup. That's kind of what I've been thinking the last couple, is that I think what happens when PD is out there without a Hughes, teams can really focus corner Pettersson. But when Quinn Hughes is out there, everyone's obviously paying attention to what the heck he's doing. And then Pettersson can find that open ice. So hopefully, Hughes is close. And I really think that when Hughes gets back in the lineup, you're going to see PD get back on probably a point a game pace is what I'm thinking.
I hope so. And you're right. Like PD got queued on hard by the main, the top D tonight, right? Because they're listed as the first line. So that is difficult hockey to play. I was pretty upset that we didn't get a better chance when McNabb lost his blade. You got to have better communication by your forwards there. You can't just be firing away like that and then giving up a breakaway the other way. Like you got to get that puck to the net.
Yeah, you essentially are on a power play at that point because the one guy's totally useless in front.
Yeah, exactly.
German Canucks fan says, "Have a good night, Russell and Dustin. I wake up too early for this." Then Solar Midnight says, "Das ist nicht gut, my friend." Okay, so Abbey Canucks. It's been a while since we've updated them. I think we have 3 games to update.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have the Monday, the Wednesday, and then the game from tonight, which is also a final. So let's go all the way back, February 17th, Vancouver Abbotsford Canucks in Abbotsford playing against the Colorado Eagles.
In the time machine, back to Family Day.
Yeah.
The afternooner at 2:00, they played on Family Day in Abbotsford. Really good game by the Abbey Canucks. Came out flying in the first period. Got the lead with Ty Mueller getting another goal. And then in the second period, added a power play goal by Danila Klimovich. The Klim Reaper, to take a 2-0 lead, and then we're able to hold off. They gave one back in the third to the Eagles, but we're able to hold off for the 2-1 victory. Artur Shilov's stopping 27 of 28 in that game, so having a very good game on Family Day, taking home the first star honors with that one. Klimovich had an assist on the Mueller goal, so he had 2 points in the game. And also Christian Wolanin with 2 assists from the blue line. So that was good stuff. On Family Day, being able to sweep the 2 games against the Eagles to get a little redemption from when they went down to Colorado and got a couple losses.
Yeah. Trying to catch those Eagles.
trying to catch those Eagles.
Now we're on hump day, Wednesday, February the 19th. You have the Abbotsford Canucks down in San Diego to play against the Gulls. How did that turn out for our boys, the Baby Canucks?
So this was a depleted Baby Canucks lineup. So on this Wednesday is when everyone got called up for practice with the big Canucks. So Artur Shilovs, Nikita Tolopilo, DPD, Lekermaki, Aturatu, Niels Oman were all up with the big Canucks practicing. So a lot of call-ups from the ECHL. Ty Young called up from Kalamazoo. Jonathan Lemieux also called up. They had numerous forwards they had to put into the lineup. So a very mishmash lineup. And needless to say, they did not fare great in San Diego. A hard-fought game, though. They did their best. Kind of back and forth in the first period. Abbotsford with the lion's share of the shot total in the first, but the Gulls came out of the first with a 1-0 lead. Abbotsford was able to tie it up. Sammy Blais with his 8th this season in the second period from Kudryavtsev and Ty Mueller. But then it was kind of all the Gulls in the third period. They came out fast in the third with 2 quick ones to get up to a 3-1 lead. Abbotsford did fight back, getting one from Ben Berard, who was one of those call-ups to fill in for the missing bodies up with the big Canucks. And then Dino Cambites getting his 9th of the season to make it 3-3. But that was as close as they'd come. The Gulls would get the next one about 4 minutes later to take the lead, and then added an empty netter for the 5-3 victory. So a really well fought game for a depleted Abbey Canucks team. So not too bad, not too upset with that loss down there on Wednesday.
Are you upset about the game tonight?
Not really. You know what? They fought back. It was 3-0. Some rough stuff. There is some history here with the Roadrunners. I don't know if how many recall, but early in the season, Montana Onyebuchi kind of blindsided Mark Friedman in front of the net and knocked him out of the lineup for a couple months.
Didn't he? He didn't even get a suspension, did he?
He was suspended for 2 games, I believe. But it wasn't a very long suspension. It was pretty nasty hit. So there's some history here, and so there was a fight in the second period. Chase Waters taking on Max Stuber. Some rough stuff. Linus Carlson with a slash on Onyebuchi. Onyebuchi kind of roughing him back, and then so just kind of a back and forth game. Abbotsford seemed a little distracted. And they still do have a bit of a weird lineup. They're still running because Shilovs is up with the big club, obviously, with Demko being injured. Lekermaki, as I noted a bit earlier, is kind of in limbo. We don't know where he is. We don't know if he's supposed to be with the Abbey Canucks or if he's supposed to be with the big Canucks. So Tucson got out to a 1-0 lead in the first, added 2 more in the second to get out to a 3-0 lead. In the third, Sammy Blais would get his 9th of the season from Aatu Ratu and Cole McWard. And then with 30 seconds left in the game, Aatu Ratu would get a second goal. But they just ran out of time, weren't able to get the third to tie it up and force an overtime here tonight. But some really good stuff we're starting to see out of Sammy Blais. Quietly starting to pad that goal total, and is technically a free agent at the NHL level. He's signed to an AHL contract, so who knows? Maybe he could be some playoff help come deadline time. If the right trade isn't there, maybe they can sign him, I believe, before trade deadline, and he'll be playoff eligible.
Got the Roadrunners again. The AHL schedule, they played at 6 o'clock tonight. They're playing at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So even in a worse situation than the big club. But yeah, it should be a good game tomorrow. Some pushback from the boys in an afternoon game down there in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, and we'll be keeping a close eye on the lineup to see where Lekkerimäki is. Tolopilo did play tonight, so he stopped 21 of 24 in the loss. Abbotsford did direct, I think, 39 or 40 shots, 39 shots on the Tucson net. Just weren't able to get that third goal tonight. So
Unfortunate.
hopefully we can bounce back and get a big win tomorrow.
And then back with the Vancouver Canucks, quick turnaround. They got the AHL schedule, like we mentioned. They're playing Utah tomorrow, 5:00, so less than 24 hours between game times. Utah lost tonight as well, so both teams are on a back-to-back. Seems like the NHL wanted to jump on all the hype from the Four Nations Cup. They got a lot of games over today and tomorrow. Like I mentioned last time we chatted, the Canucks lost and blew big, a 2-0 lead against the Utah Hockey Club. What are you expecting from the second meeting of all time between these two clubs?
Honestly, it'll depend on who's in the lineup. Tocchet had talked about deciding who the goalie would be tomorrow after the workload, and it's not like Lankinen had an easy night. So we'll have to see. We may be seeing Shilovs tomorrow night, Lankinen on the bench. Maybe Hughes is ready to go tomorrow. We don't know how far off he is. We were just told he's not playing tonight. So if those two things happen, who knows what kind of game we get. If Hughes is in the lineup, we could just see the Canucks really push the play and continue with the momentum they had tonight. If they play the way they did tonight against Utah, I mean, they should have a really decent, complete game, and hopefully can find a couple extra goals in the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, Hughes in the lineup makes this team a totally different entity, right? Because suddenly you have a power play quarterback. You suddenly have, you're sitting at a really good defenseman, which you're not really doing these days. Forbort probably comes out of the lineup is probably what you'd end up seeing there. So probably just a more speedy defense overall. Forbort's not too bad. He's not a Desharnais, but definitely is not as flight as foot as obviously Quinn Hughes is. So second game of the year down there in Mormon country. Down there in Utah. You'll be by for the first period, right?
I will be by for the first period, yes.
Cool. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say to chat before I let you go?
As always, appreciate you stopping by, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.
Cool. Enjoy the rest of your night, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Cheers.
Dustin Boydell, everyone. Silver Fox stopping by to say hello. Try and mend those wounds, our mental wounds, after watching the Canucks lose another one 3-1 with an empty netter.
Nothing is perfect.